In November of 2016, I had the opportunity to interview one of the most respected men in kiting. A husband, a father, a mentor, a role model, and a friend. Rich Comras. Enjoy these next few minutes of conversation with one of our favorite people on and off the flying field. It's candid, and it's honest, and it's exactly how I remember him. What do you have to do today? You don't have to do anything, do you?
I got nothing to do but fly kites. Sit on my ass, get stoned, and fly kites.
Yeah.
That's my dad. Hey, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, mic check. Audio engineers don't know how to get past 2 or 3, and they don't say 1. Hey, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Good mic level 1. I can move the mic closer, but I can't talk loud.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, cool.
So, tell me, everybody knows who you are.
For better or worse, I suppose.
So tell me your name.
Rich Comras, Miami Beach, Florida.
Miami Beach, Florida. How did you get started in kiting? Why are you even here?
Why am I here? Well, when I was 10 years old, I used to fly a kite in front of my dad's house out at the beach. I'd put it up as high as it could go, and I'd sit there and watch it all day. Fast forward, I don't know, I was at college and I was hanging out with some deadheads, and won't mention names, but they were big into the kiting community. They flew for top of the line kites. I got my first Hawaiian spin-off from these guys, but we used to sit around and drink and smoke a lot of dope in Greenwich, Connecticut, and that's how I got exposed to kiting. And then I met all those folks up in beautiful Newport, Rhode Island, and it was revolutions from there on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were you flying mostly before Revolution?
Well, I had the benefit of knowing Sue and Steve from Newport, so I would walk into their kite shop and I'd say, "What's new?" And they'd say, "Go try this," or "Go try that." So I've had, and I'm talking about before standoffs on kites. I had a couple of Hawaiian spin-offs, I had a couple of ultralights, I had a Crystal Power kite, I got a couple of prisms in my bag. But when Rev introduced their 4-line kite, I pretty much forsaken every 2-line kite I have there in the garage in the bag. Probably worth some money to somebody, but I don't fly them.
Still have them all?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. But Revs just gave me the freedom to do what I wanted, and so that's what I fly now, only. I could fly a single line kite. I could probably fake a dual line kite, no slack line stuff, but put 4 lines in my hand and it's just like magic for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all good.
So your first couple experiences, I've heard Scott Weeder talk about helping you learn to fly in the beginning, and there's probably other people, but what was that transition? Like when was it you started flying a Rev, and then you got really involved in the community? I know it sounds like before that, but people know you as a Rev flyer.
Right. People know me as a Rev flyer. People pretty much know me by this hat. I get compliments, all the time. "Oh, I saw you on the kite field. I saw your hat." And,
yeah.
I walk on the beach here and I'm wearing a baseball cap the last couple of days, and they're like, "We didn't recognize you for a second." "Oh, wait, there's a Grateful Dead sweatshirt. There he goes." But, Scotty was a great help. Hanging out in Newport, Rhode Island was amazing because these guys were flying Revs. I had never, I had always flown alone. I owned my first Rev, and probably didn't fly with anybody for, I don't know, at least a couple, 3 years. And by then I was, I didn't know from different rods and shapes and sizes. Rev had only 2 kites at the time. I think it was the Backtracker, and then they introduced the Rev 1 and the EXP. And I walked into Sue's store one day, and she said, "You got to try this kite." And I just took it, and I flew it every chance I got, flew by myself. And then, I don't know, like Wildwood 2006 or 2007 was the first time I had really walked on a beach with other rev flyers. And I was scared out of my mind. I had never flown in line with anybody. I mean, I could control my speed and I could control the kite, but I didn't know how to trust the guy in front of me. I didn't know how to trust the guy behind me. And, you know, Scotty and we met through Sue and Steve a bunch of years before, but, you know, we had never really connected. And ever since then, it's like brothers in arms. I mean, instinctually, we know where we're going in the sky together. So it just became magic. But I got involved in the community because, you know, it crosses every socioeconomic level. There are people here that are, you know, city commissioners. There are people that work for NASA. There are these guys that are engineers that, you know, do incredible things. There are woodworkers. There's real estate people. But nobody cares about anything like that on the kite field. It's all about, hey, having a good time? Let's go fly a kite together. You know, I'm sure you'll ask me about it, but I'm battling cancer right now. So I walk on the kite field now, and I have like a family that just will not let me do anything for myself. I mean, I'm not crippled or anything, but I mean, they won't even let me carry my own freaking kite bag, for crying out loud. And it's like, I'm not like, I can fly a kite, I can carry my own bag. But it's all about the community. It's really the people. I mean, you know, we didn't sit around all day yesterday talking for no reason. There was no wind to fly, so we just sat around and chatted, moved around from group to group. It was a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is a real special part of these events.
Yeah. Look, you stay in crappy hotels all over the country. I'm very fortunate. I get to travel wherever I want to go. I go to any kite festival I want to go to as long as it works in with my schedule. And I would say without a doubt, wherever you go, the community is always the same. It's just the accents are different.
Yeah.
That's really what it boils down to.
So you talked about cancer. Talk to me about what this experience has been like. You know, outside of, you know, we have this great kite family that we are fortunate to know. But in your personal life and how this has affected you on all aspects.
Right.
What's it been like? What's going on?
So I got diagnosed with pancreatic cancer in October of 14. And I didn't really know how to approach it from, you know, letting people know and, you know, who to let know and who did I want to know and how did I feel about it? Did I want to just disappear for a while and get my health in order? And that's just not me. I'm a type A guy. I like to go out. I like to think that, you know, notwithstanding the cancer, I still do the same things that I was doing before. But the perspective it's given me on life is, you know, we talk about people but with their first name only, but I was having a conversation with Ben not too long ago, and he was feeling closed in, and, you know, I won't go into details, but he felt a little trapped. And I said to him, you know, Benny, I got diagnosed with cancer 2 years ago, and I've never felt like there was a clock on my life. I've never felt like I got to get from A to B any faster. I never felt like I needed to rush. In fact, it's quite the opposite. I've slowed down so much. I've actually taken time to, you know, smell the flowers, so to speak. And, you know, what I found is that I've not become more introverted, but I've just looked deeper into myself to see what's stressing me out in my life and how I can get it out of my life and feel better. So I've started to do things like yoga and, you know, meditation and acupuncture. And, you know, some people think it's silly. Some people have a deep belief in, you know, the power of, for lack of a better word, Eastern medicine. But it works for me, and, you know, it gives me great solace to know that when I go out on a kite field, I'm feeling the way I am, but I have everything still to look forward to. So I have a very short time frame window given the diagnosis that I have, but I'm seeing great doctors. I feel really good when I feel good. And when I don't feel so good, I just look at it as, you know what, it's just a few days out of a cycle and I'm going to feel better. And I do. I got a great support team at home. My wife and my son are just, phenomenal. I have my music community friends because I do a lot of live music. And I got my kite community friends. And there isn't a day that goes by that somebody doesn't message me and check in, see how I'm doing, see if there's anything they can do. I had 3 of my buddies come down and support me the week I had chemo, and they really just propped me up all weekend. And it was great because it gave my wife the chance to just back off and have a non-cancer day. So it's changed my life to the extent that I've become more, looking in on myself and checking myself, and not being the guy that's constantly running around the kite field looking to be out there for as long as possible and do as many demos. And it's just I'm in a good place. I feel good. Yeah.
You look like you feel good.
Look, I'm let's see, it's Sunday. I'm 7 days out of chemo. And the chemo is a 3-day or a 4-day process, and it just wipes your body out. Anybody that has cancer can, attest to it, that's gone through chemo and radiation. But it takes its toll, and all of a sudden there's like a little light switch that flips, and all of a sudden you feel better. You feel like eating, you feel like drinking, you feel like socializing. I got here on Thursday night. There was no way I was coming to Treasure Island Friday morning. I just couldn't do it. I woke up Friday and I said, I'm going to do this drive. I'm going to go hang out with my friends. I don't even care if I fly a kite, just as long as I'm with my friends. And as soon as I got here, it was like the light switch flipped and I had my energy back, and I was, I felt good.
Yeah.
So now I'm feeling great.
It is, for people that have never experienced cancer and are around any family or friends that have had it, it's hard to understand that energy level.
Right.
My father had cancer, and I can relate to the extent by which he had energy, and then during his treatments was completely wiped out. And it is, for people that do know what that's like, and to see you out there flying, it's encouraging.
Yes.
For the idea that maybe they have family or friends with cancer, and they see that you're not completely crippled because of this, and you're living life
right
in a positive.
There are a few people in the kiting community that, one Dave Geezer Shattuck just passed away over the summer, and he was quickly diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, and had probably died within 3 months of that. There are a couple of other people whose names I won't divulge because I don't know, how they feel about talking about their cancer in public. But, we all email each other every so often and just do a little check-in. And, they're at different stages of their cancer. For me, it's a personal thing. I don't like anything to control me. I'm not a control freak per se, but I don't like anything being in control of me. When I have to go sit there and say, hey, Scotty, I need a break, I really need a break now. It's not like I can say, okay, I'm good for another 5. I take my breaks. There is nothing worse than feeling that cramped in, closed in feeling that chemotherapy gives you. It's your body just shuts down on itself. You don't want to eat, you don't want to drink, you don't want to be around anybody, you just want to sleep and be left alone until it's out of your system. And basically you're putting poison in your system.
Yeah.
And it's not just attacking your cancer, but it goes to everywhere in your body, so it affects everything. I'm sitting here, it's 80 degrees outside, I'm wearing a sweatshirt and a long sleeve shirt and a base layer, long pants, socks, and shoes. Everybody out there is wearing shorts and a t-shirt. Well, I live in Miami Beach, but the reality of it is that even at 70 degrees, I'm cold. So I've learned to take care of myself in such a way that when I do want to go put myself out there, now I'm prepared to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one
one other thing that I wanted to ask you about is a reason that you and I connected in the beginning, that I was connected with you, I guess, is because I knew of your involvement, your interest in the Grateful Dead.
Right.
And I've been a Deadhead for a long time. And I see you, I knew you were here on the beach because I walked up and saw still your face on the back of your chair, and I knew that you had got to the beach, so it was a good sight to see. Whenever I see a Dead-related anything, I know you're around. So can you tell me, I know this is a little bit off topic, but can you tell me about your experience with the Dead, traveling? And this is something that we talk about, the different personalities of all these kite flyers, and this is something major people know you by.
Right.
You're identified by right now in your sweatshirt. You have
exactly
the image with the sweetest steal your face I think I know.
Yeah, so this logo is the logo. It was designed by a friend of mine named Carolyn in New Jersey, and it's the logo on my boat. And I took the basic Steal Your Face logo and surrounded it with a compass rose for a couple of reasons. One, it represents wind, it represents freedom, and it's also the logo on one of my friend's kites. That's the centerpiece of every one of his kites. But my experience with the Grateful Dead and how it's, helped me and shaped me is, I had the benefit of having an older brother, and I went to my first Dead show with him. I was probably, I think, 1976 or 1977. I was still in high school, 10th, 11th grade. The whole party scene didn't bother me. I was already involved in that. But there was just something about the music, something about the freedom, something about, almost the carelessness of the band not really caring that, what they put out there wasn't the best sounding, or maybe it wasn't, the best, voices not being in tone. But it was a collective experience of the band, the audience, and just the environment. And I relate it to kiting almost immediately identifiable because it is the same exact thing to me. It's about the people. It's about the environment. It's about the background noise, the music. I'm not people will tell you I'm very outgoing and I'm very personable. But when it comes to being in a situation like, if I went to a wedding, I'd be the last guy to get up and go out there on the dance floor. I'm just an awkward dancer. My wife says I do the Grateful Dead dance, and I suppose that's true, but that's what I do.
It's all right. It's the only one I know too.
Right. So but I'm not, I don't like to put myself out there. And in kiting, I don't compete for the same thing. I couldn't, just being out in front of a group of people, and having to perform for them, that's not me. But, a couple of the guys online say, yeah, but it's the only time when everybody is forced to watch you. The field is your own. You can do whatever you want. And I took it in stride and I said, you're right. So I'd sign up and do a couple of demos. And at first I would say, you guys play whatever music you want. I got my music in my ear. I'm a TV guy. I know 3.5 minutes. I'll be out. And so I started doing that. And I realized that the few times that I actually get out there and let myself go is if I'm at a Dead show and the music's jamming, I'll be up there and I'll be jamming. My eyes will be closed and I'll be rhythmic to me, maybe not to anybody else. It might be Elaine on Seinfeld. But I get out on the kite field and it's the same thing. I'll be out there soul flying and I'll just have the music on and I'll just start rocking my body back and forth, and I don't really care what anyone else is thinking. Again, it goes back to just letting yourself be comfortable inside. And I've really become very comfortable with what I am and what I have and where I've been and where I'm going. I'm a pragmatic guy. I know eventually I'm going to die from cancer. I have a great team of doctors. They're keeping me alive for 2 years now. Most doctors would say you would have been dead within 5 months. How you caught it so early, who knows? But here I am, and I go and I do my thing. That's how I go.
Do you have any songs you like to fly to when you're just listening privately?
Oh my God. I'm a deadhead first and foremost. I'm a jam band guy second and foremost. But I like music. I like production value. Music today is, nobody even plays an instrument anymore, for crying out loud. But what do I like to listen to first and foremost? Well, I'll always put the Grateful Dead on first. But as of late, I've been really reflective. Like when David Bowie died and everybody started throwing out their covers of him, Widespread Panic did a cover of Heroes. And it's about 7.5 minutes of a David Bowie cover of a song that I'm very familiar with, but I'd never heard quite presented in that way. And I go out and it's the first song that I put on every day.
Really?
And it's just about being a hero and just, plowing through. Yeah.
Well, interesting that the first time that I ever came out to this beach to fly ever, I had heard about this festival. I'd never been to a kite festival before. I had just bought my first Revolution from Scott Weeder, and I was on the phone with him. He wasn't here yet, and I didn't know anybody out here. Didn't even know where Treasure Island Beach was. So once I drove out here and was staying in the back of my truck and so on, I walked out of the truck onto the field, and he says, go out there and find the guy with the hat, and he'll tell you what to do. So I went out there and I put the rev together for, I don't know, I'd flown it a couple times, but I wasn't that good at all. And I found you. You were the first person that I talked to. And I just was near you, and you found me, actually. You said, hey,
can I show you something?
Can I show you something? So that was my first experience on this beach at a festival pool.
Yeah.
And you gave me a couple things you said, do this, go in a box, try this. So the whole day I went over there, and you came over and talked to me a few times. Of course, I met you with Scott later, but I will never forget that. That's one of my main ingredients to my kite memories.
Humbled.
It really, and I've always had a special connection with you from a distance because of that, and then of course because of the Dead. But it brings the question. I have these heroes in my life, in my kite life, and other parts, but you were definitely one of these people. Who is it for you? Who do you look at and you think, man, if it wasn't for that guy, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing?
I would say Weeder.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy, took me under his arm and he said, you've got the chops, you know how to fly the kite, you're totally in control. Come fly next to me and let's do this together. And we've been flying side by side for I don't know how many years now. And like I said, it's instinctual. You get next to somebody and you just learn their rhythm. One of the other guys that gave me the I don't give an F attitude was Ben D'Antonio. He and I, we go out there and soul fly. We don't even talk to each other. He puts on whatever he's listening to. I put on whatever I'm listening to. And we just find a natural rhythm, and he'll lead and then I'll lead, and we won't even, it's just a transition. So within the kiting community, those two guys, really shaped and helped me, find my place. And then I also got to give credit to Sue Moskowitz and Steve Santos, because they really were the two people that got me involved in kiting in all aspects of it. And when they said, try this kite and go down to Brenton Point and go ask for Matt and go ask for Scotty and go ask for Art and go ask for Beth and all these people, that was that was really my first intro to like a small group of community flyers that always flew together. And here I am, I'm just a guy from New York up for the summer, and these guys are local guys. They live in Fall River, they live in, they're all local people. They didn't care where I was from. They said, do this, try that. Hey, try doing it this way instead of that way. Not too much. And so what I did was I said, you know what? This is further down the road, and it sort of relates to, with you. I can't teach a person how to fly a rev out of the box. I can't take a beginner and teach them like that. I'm the guy that will shave the time off of your learning curve. I'm the guy that will teach you how to lower your hands, to take a deep breath, to learn how to control your speed and your spacing at the same time. You know, maybe you want to try turning differently. Instead of using your thumbs and pulling back and pushing forward, I use my bottom 2 fingers to turn the kite. I turn on the right side with my bottom ring and pinky finger, and on the left side with my left side ring and pinky finger, and that gives me speed control and turn control, and it's not like you're oversteering the kite. So when somebody understands the basics of flying a kite and they understand a little about how the flight characteristics of the sail work, you can ease them into certain things. And you don't even need to see their hands to see if they're doing that kind of thing. You can tell by the kite flying figure eights in the sky if their turns are smooth or not. And then, you know, you work into turning the kite on the center versus turning it on the tip. You know, so I like to consider myself, and I say this very humbly, I like to consider myself a pretty good teacher for pilots that want to go to the next level. Now, there are guys out there that are way more experienced than me and that are way better pilots than me. Maybe it's just the way I communicate it. Maybe it's just, you know, my gentle nature. Maybe it's I'm an asshole and, you know, I just force it down your throat. Whatever it is, it seems to work. So it's all good. And I you know, that's my joy. That's how I give back. You know, Scotty and I have a team called the Rev Riders, and, you know, we have pretty much stopped even performing as a team, in so much as we like to include everybody as a Rev Rider. We'll take new people on the line and we just teach them the basics of team flying. And I'm known for getting frustrated on that line when I start doing moves that are contrary. Hi, Chuckles. When we start doing moves, when I'll start axling in the middle of a line, and that pisses Scotty off. But it also tells him, Rich is a little bored, maybe we need to move on a little bit.
Yeah.
Because we've gotten into such a mode of teaching people how to fly that people just gravitate to us, and we enjoy that aspect of it. And there are other teams that do that as well. But then there are just the high performance teams. They go off on their side, they practice for hours, they go and do demonstrations, and that's all good. That's too much discipline for me. I'm disciplined, but I don't have the discipline for a long duration of time. Yeah. So for me, it's kind of tough. I lose interest fast.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, is there anything else that you'd like to say to the kiting world, to anybody?
Fuck cancer, fly kites, listen to music, and shake your bones. Just enjoy life. Really, if you can go on Facebook, you can go on YouTube, you see these pictures of the galaxy, and you see this one little spot, and that's our little universe. And then you start to think about, I was in Korea for 3 weeks on a medical trip not too long ago. And when I heard I was going to be there 3 weeks, I said, oh my God, I'm never going to last. And then I'm thinking about it in the great scheme of things. It's so little time. I mean, such a long, long time to be there and a short time to be gone. Yeah. It's the way it is.
Well, Rich, thanks for talking to me.
Dude, anytime for you.
I appreciate it a lot.
I'm humbled you asked me to do this.
Yeah. Well,
thank you.
I love you. We love you.
Thanks.
We hope you're the best in this fight with cancer, and I'm really happy to see you out there flying. It's inspiring.
Thanks, Drayton. I appreciate it. It's I'm gratified. I'm humble, and the people are what keeps me coming back.
Yeah,
so it's all good.
All right, Rich.
Thanks, buddy.
You want to be up? Took me for a ride in my big green tractor. A little bit different from that Beamer you drive, huh? A little bit different from your car, huh, Rich? John Deere, baby! Do-si-do, guys! That was a do-si-do. Careful, man.
up that hill, oh, no matter how steep, get around to it.
So which way is the wind really blowing?